Okay, so blue-black Sedgemoor Witch. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell or copy one, get a 1/1 pest token that gains life when it dies. And then we've got a bunch of interaction in our deck and card selections. We've got things like Flunk and Blood Chief's Thirst for spot removal. We've got some card advantage in the form of Village Rites and Behold the Multiverse. We've got Curate for a little bit of selection, as well as Check the Traps for a little bit of discard. And then we've got Ebon Death Dracolith here, which can come back as things die. This notably can be cast from your graveyard if one of your tokens died, or if something your opponent controls dies. And we've got 4 copies of the Spider Queen here at the very top end to provide some additional card advantage, as well as additional bodies, and take advantage of the various tokens we have from here. And then we've got 4 creature lands in the mana base, a split of Hive Eye and Hall of the Storm Giants, because I'm not sure offhand which of these is going to feel better between the two. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see if it feels like it has what it takes to keep up in the format. Rufio boy, if you're still listening in the background, here's a detailed thing from the Untapped people of what they're seeing that's missing, or what they're not seeing, I suppose I should say, when it comes to the log files. Chat, I love my fiber internet. In the 2 minutes we took to do the deck tech and start playing this game, my entire video file of that last deck we just played has been uploaded to YouTube already. If you don't have fiber in your internet diet, chat, I would highly recommend it. I'm not convinced that Blood Chief's Thirst is the ideal removal spell. It might be right to play more Flunks. So 3 mana dork goes like this. I pay less money for my fiber internet per month than I paid Comcast to uncap the internet I paid for from them. Comcast charged me like 60 or 70 bucks a month plus another 50 to uncap the internet I was already paying for. Because they're fucking criminals. I've told this story before, but my one point where I felt like I had really made it as a streamer and content creator was I had someone from Comcast reach out to me and ask about sponsoring my stream, and I got to tell them to fuck right on off. Put any number in my graveyard. I think I'm gonna bin both of these, trying to get an untapped land, which might be greedy, but we have been consumed by the greed, chat. I didn't use explicit language with them because the rep that I was talking to on the phone with Comcast isn't the person that's responsible for Comcast stuff. But I did tell them that I only advertise products for good that are good products. So, all right, and we've lost here. We actually can't beat Book of the Exalted Deeds plus the Haven here. I think we're gonna put a couple more flunks in the deck. Blood Chief's Thirst looking real clunky there. You don't have fiber internet. You are probably confused about the technical term of whatever. Do you mean DSL internet? I've never heard of fiber being offered at only 75 Mbps. Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong and that's a thing that exists, but to my knowledge, fiber internet at speeds that awful doesn't exist. Or at least ones that cap out at speeds that awful. Does fiber still use a router? Yes, fiber is a type of internet that pipes the internet into your house. You still need a router or switch to do it past that. Fiber to the cabinet and fiber to the premise. Okay, so there's different. I've never heard of fiber that slow in the United States. Someone in chat just mentioned they're in the UK, so I guess that makes sense. I want to check for traps. I'm just going to jam the first witch here and see if she resolves. The houses are on shared fiber lines. Okay, so it's not a dedicated fiber line like traditionally, like I would, like when I say fiber, I mean a dedicated line to your house, which is what the fiber internet I have is. There's no more traps in their hands yet. That's nice. Dedicated lines are pretty rare. Okay. Damn it! I just checked for traps, opponent. Black Rabbit, thanks for the 25 months. I appreciate the prime. Welcome back. Menace is such a relevant keyword on this card. This game should be pretty over at this point. Yeah, I mean, I just want both of those, right? Well, this thing draws a bunch of cards when it hits us. I forgot about that. This card's really good, chat. Really, really good. No, this is better than Ojitai. They drew all three of the cards, chat. Ojitai draws you one card. This drew three. Okay, so do I Thirst the Desert, or do we Spider Queen make two blockers? I think we Spider Queen make two blockers, huh?
Are you enraptured? Subservience will be rewarded.
What would you know about good dragon, Stormbreath Dragon? I did trade 3 pests for the cultivator. Oh, did I not want to? Nah, I think that's fine. I think we just let her go down, right? Because these are also menacing.
I return to the abyss.
Are they dead? They're dead, right? We're just gonna like get real thirsty over here. Actually, they're dead without the removal spell, right? They'd like block a 3/2 and then die. Do you remember when modern players were arguing if Stormbreath Dragon or Thundermaw was the better dragon for Jeskai control, as if playing dragons was ever the right thing to do? Listen, I registered a lot of Stormbreath Dragons inside that deck, okay, Beetle? Stormbreath Dragon dodged Path to Exile and it dodged Lightning Helix, okay? It was very reasonable. Is this off? Thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Okay. This card might be cute, but I wanted to play one of because it's cheeky. I just want to make a bunch of Sedgebar Witches with Lotleth Spider Queen. Yeah, I agree, Edmund. If long-term this format cares about attacking and blocking, that is a huge positive for the format. It's a land, Matthew. It's an adventure for characters levels 17 through 20. It is a 3/3 that attacks. Behold my adventure! Unless you know or have some kind of inside information from Wizards, in which case feel free to pass it along. Don't refer to my beholder here as a man. This is a creature land, or if you prefer, a slap land, because it's going to slap my opponent at some point. But I believe in you, chat. You can choose to not gender my lands. So again, these slap lands come into play untapped if they're one of your first 2 lands. Starting on as your 3rd land, they're tapped. I think I want to just check for traps. See what they got going on over here. Huh. Take War Master, I think, here. Unfortunate that they give a 2-drop regardless. Ooh. We might get to live the dream, chat. We might get to live the dream. Oh, this is an elf. Okay. Leaf Blade Fighter, thanks for the 17 months. Welcome back. She's a very scary witch, chat. Human elf is the equivalent of half elf, yes.
Hold on to your jaws. They're about to drop.
Yeah, the UI for Dungeons looking real clean here. Even fits into my overlay really well right next to chat.
I saved a monster for you.
Okay, so... Gonna do this and I'm gonna pass here. Maybe I'm supposed to Mystic Reflection into check for traps, actually. So all their elves tap for mana. Yeah, so they're gonna get to Striker here. That was a decent draw. The War Master is real scary here, though.
Go, earn your renown.
Feeling kind of dead. They went pretty wide pretty quickly. Might be dead, but won't die to a trap, big boot. Plavex, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel today. Alright, so they have to tap 2 elves to activate War Master. And ideally, I want to block as little as possible this turn, so that way next turn Spider Queen can gain a bunch of loyalty.
Bare your fangs.
So if I block here, we're taking 9, 16, 21. I have to block 3 things to survive. This is 9, 16. I do. Fortunate. Really need to draw a piece of removal next turn. Flunk or Blood Chief's Thirst. Check for traps, probably not going to do it. I am still accepting historic deck submissions, but Aurora the Worm deck's probably something I'd reject. That doesn't sound particularly competitive. The current historic format is not very friendly to brewing. It's a very brutal, fast format. Where the things that aren't brutal and fast outclass you in terms of card quality. We dead here? I haven't counted. Let's find out. Oh, War Master is so good. Yeah, standard 22 is the post-rotation cube, Pathfinder. That's what that's shorthand for. Even with full blocks for dead here. Maybe we want some more removal. Oh, you know what might be good? I forget. Does the black inscription get back things that cost 3? Is it only 2? Oh, it's destroy mana value 3 or less, return 2 or less. That's sad. Are there any other modal removal spells we could be playing? Like, I don't want to play too much just dedicated removal, because if we run into a spell-based deck, we get kind of sad. What are other, like, are there any other, like, black modal removal spells we could play? Yeah, I've got a couple of maulings. I guess we could play more of those. Black Ooze isn't a terrible one. Into the Royal is not a removal spell. Did I not open any? Oh, it doesn't, that card doesn't destroy. Exile. Yeah, it sounds kind of good. Feed the Swarm is your go-to. That's not really a modal removal spell. Or 4 of these might be too many. If we get 3 cubes in here. Alright, what do I cut to fit some cubes in? Too many village rights might be bad. It's like good with Sedgemoor, but that's it. Sphere of Annihilation is not a playable magic card. It's very bad. Do I want for Lilith? Yeah, I think so. She's a card that if she stays in play, she dies. Or their opponent dies, you're going to win the game. And she generates board presence. Well, that exiled 13 cards from our deck. It's a couple, 2, 3. Looking for removal here. Not finding any. Yes. You have paid 3 life, so I cannot attack. Deal. There's 2 check for traps in my deck. We can also find a removal spell. Yeah, we're probably supposed to curate here to start. And I'm going to go ahead and kill this one, I think. We'll suspend this and attack for 2.
My aid. Aren't I generous?
Yeah, the fact that I drew a lot of my expensive cards didn't help. They're dead on board though, right? So we should be good to go here. We're able to put down enough pressure on the back of Witchy Poo. Ow. Ow! Double block, single block, still dead? Right? Double block, single block, triple single block.
My words are for ambitious.
Do I have any Blood Chief's Thirst left? 1, 2 in there. 1 in there, so I don't. I think we just attack, right? I could draw a flunk. Do I have flunks left? Nope. I think they're dead. We have like an unsummon here, I guess. Alright, nope, it's dead. Deal. I guess you could say we have the last laugh this time, okay? Menace is very good. Menace is quite the keyword. Full art. Ice Tunnel is gorgeous. Definitely a keeper here. Yes, Menace is like Fear, but you can actually block it if you don't have blocker artifact things, which is great. Much better design. Hunter 2K, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. If you're just joining us like Hunter, this is the 3rd standard 22 deck that we've played. If you're interested in playing Magic Arena's latest format, fresh out of the Eldraine Hellscape, we're going to be playing a ton of it here. We played some green-white aggro as well as some red-white angel combo before this. Those will all be up on my YouTube channel this evening with deck lists in the video descriptions as always. Be playing a bunch of more Standard 22 tomorrow again, and then this weekend the Hoaglandia Open Series will be returning on Sunday, and we'll be battling, have folks battling on stream with Standard 22 and Best of 3 all day. On point sleeves here. Two more lands in my bin, so in my hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and bin that. Draw check for traps here. I think I want to check for traps before we deploy Sedgemoor. I'm gonna take Iteration. The rest of their hand is kind of clunky, and I got a bunch of removal for it. Alien Drazi will be joining me as my co-commentator this weekend. Discard spells are so fucking tilting, chat. Just the most unreal tilting effect in Magic the Gathering. What's going on, Sour Shot? Thanks for the follow. This is where the magic happens, chat. So we're going to have Goldspan into Inferno here. People complain about discard effects because discard effects, I think in general, you would classify as bad game design. They're an effect that always feels bad for someone. Either you get your best card taken away and you never got to cast it, or like in this instance, I got to take a card away and then my opponent immediately top decked out of it. They're not an effect that ever leaves both players being satisfied with what happened. Feeling bad is literally the only outcome they have. There were not dual lands in this set, which is why you see me playing things like these snow duels in a lot of decks. We got creature lands in this set as the rare lands. If this is a counter spell, if they saw this coming, we're probably dead here. If it's not a counter spell, it's probably an extra turn card, which is also pretty medium for us. Dragons are very good at school, chat. They don't fail their classes very often. Man, I missed that animation last time our opponent played Desert Doom. That was sick. Would love a check for traps here. Village rights. We just go bottoms up here looking for a discard spell. Punish for my sequencing. Am I casting a gain 4? I think I am. It makes a token too. Flunk is the cheap removal spell. It's not great against this Dragon's deck, obviously, though, because they're a deck that keeps cards in hand. And plays chunky monsters. Hey, thanks for the 37 munch tantrums. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Alright, so... probably kill the Inferno, right? I guess it's also legendary. So if I don't kill the Inferno, they play a land, they can give it plus a bunch next turn. I can only give it -3. They can give it plus 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 10, and I can give it -3. So we're technically not dead to the Inferno, right? They draw a card, they play a thing, they give it +4. I mean, I'm casting a spell. I'm going to have blockers from the Witch. I'm probably casting 2 spells. I'm going to have 2 blockers from the Witch. The problem here is this is probably an extra turn spell, which I think means we're dead either way. Wow, it was a saw it coming this entire time and they were just super patient. Man, I didn't see that one coming, chat. Yeah, that was so, believe it or not, since pivoting to this more mid-rangey deck, Best of One has felt a bit worse. Like, we've definitely been having big time my answers not lining up well into my opponent's threats these games. And like, if we could play post-board games where I got to like turn flunks into better removal spells against their dragons, would feel a lot better about our position in these games. In those games we just played. Let's try a couple more, but there's a good chance that a deck like this just isn't playable in a Best of One setting. Because you're gonna have that too often where your things just don't line up. Thanks for the half a year, Urquan. Interesting. We just flunk the Florahedron here. Gelatinous Cube might get to go to work here. Minion of the Mighty, not heralding anything particularly mighty so far. This card is very good. think I want a 5th land, but I also want a removal spell, so we're going to bottom one of those. Well, that's terrifying. Looking to dodge a land drop here. If they draw a land to get to boast, we're probably dead. This is first strike, too. It's kind of gross. People talking about discard spells, you obviously haven't been here for some of our discussions in the past. Balancing discard spells is super easy. Look up the card Blackmail. That's the text of a targeted discard spell that doesn't feel like dog shit to play against. Okay, so with no land for the turn, we get to go ahead and just flunk this. And we can get the Spider Queen down here.
Envy the strong. My will cannot be denied.
And these have reach, so this land is not lethal. Oh crap, I forgot about the flavor text on there. Well, that probably means we're dead.
Do what I demand. My power is for annihilation.
I was surprised I didn't kill the minion. How would I have killed their thing? Can you explain? What card would I have played? I don't think you know the text on my cards unless I'm missing something very obvious. Someone doesn't know the text on some of these cards, and it could be me, but it's probably you. Minion doesn't do anything. I'm talking about these. I didn't realize what they did.
Aren't I
The minion is actually a textless 01. Sorry, it's a menace 01. I don't know that we beat Ranger class from here, huh? Oh, that's actually just... No, it's not... Oh, it is lethal, right? Because it says menace? Yeah. Textless 01 with menace, chip. I'm going to try one more, but I think it's about time to retire this deck. Being reactive doesn't feel particularly good in a best of one sitting. There's a chance this deck is more competitive with sideboards, but there's a chance it's also just bad. I've gotten run down by a variety of things so far. I'd rather have a removal spell in the dark. So, one of the things I'd heavily discourage people from doing, and it's something that people always do, and it's very annoying, is this deck is a control deck. We built it to be a control deck with a Sedgemoor Witch finisher. And you're right, Sedgemoor Witch as a card might work better in a proactive shell that's green and black, but to imply that that's the same deck because they both decks would play Sedgemoor Witch is very silly and super reductionist. People very, very often incorrectly group things like that, where it's like, well, these decks are both green-white, so they should be comparable to each other, when, like, one's an aggro deck and one's, like, a big mid-range deck. And, like, just because two decks would be Sedgemoor Witch decks doesn't mean that they're necessarily comparable. I agree with you that a reactive Sedgemoor Witch deck here did not feel good, and I don't know that I would build and play another reactive Sedgemoor Witch deck like this. Playing something more proactive with an aggressive slant with possibly a different color would be good. But again, I don't really think that that's comparable to this, other than the fact that, like, they would both feature this card. Like, cheap card advantage and stuff like that did not feel like the direction I want to go in with this. Like, maybe this is enough, and we don't want this type of thing. We want more proactive spells that trigger this, as opposed to, like, sitting on our hands just generating card advantage. At any rate, I think I might try something similar to this again when we eventually get a best of 3 queue and we're able to sideboard. I think decks like this are definitely much worse than the other two more proactive decks that we had played, but I'm going to go ahead and be done with this one for the day and move on to something else.